Hello, it is Little Timmy here from the Easy Buckets podcast group. Today we are going to be talking about the Sacramento Kings, and we're just going to be talking about their whole franchise, and let's get into it. So, I just wanted to start off by saying that the Sacramento Kings are not a good team. That's why I'm making this video talking about how bad they've been, and in my opinion, the worst franchise in NBA history. So I'll just talk about that. So the Sacramento Kings were founded in 1923, so they've almost been around for like 100 years. But they started off in Rochester, and then they were a bunch of teams in Rochester from 1923 to 1957, and then they went to Cincinnati, and they were there from 1957 to 1972, and then went to Kansas for 13 years until 1985, and then in 1985, that's when they went to Sacramento, which is where they are now. So they have won one championship, and that was in 1957 when they were in Rochester, but they've never won a championship with the Sacramento Kings. So, they have technically won a championship, but I'm going off of the Sacramento Kings, like the time they've been in Sacramento. And currently, they haven't made the playoffs in 14 years. And it's been 15 years since they've had a record they had more wins than losses. So when they're above 500, which is not very good at all, because they had their DeMarcus Cousins rebuild, where they had DeMarcus Cousins, and then he got traded, and then now they have the whole De'Aaron Fox situation, and now rumors are coming up that he's going to get traded. So they were saying that they might trade for Ben Simmons or something like that, whatever they're going to do, to hopefully try to get them in at least the play-in, so that they could try to make the playoffs, because they haven't made the playoffs in a very long time. And the last time they made the playoffs is when they had like Chris Webber, Mike Bibby. It was that era when they were playing against Kobe and Shaq. That was the last time they made the playoffs. So that was 2006. So they haven't made the playoffs in a long time. And then the season that they won the championship, that was in 1951. So it was like the NBA wasn't the same. They only played like 70 games. And it wasn't the same because, like, the whole rounds that were played were different. So, it's still an NBA championship, but it wasn't the Sacramento Kings championship. But ever since they've been in Sacramento, they haven't really done good. They've only made the playoffs out of, like, the times. So they've made the playoffs twice. When it's like not counting the whole Chris Webber era. Well, the Chris Webber era, they made it like 7 times. So 7 plus 9. 9 times. Or like 10. So in their 36 years, they've made the playoffs 10 times. Which is not that good. And if it wasn't for getting Chris Webber, that would be like 2. So that really helped their team as a whole do better. But currently, right now, the situation, it always feels like they get a new draft pick, because it was like DeMarcus Cousins, and it's like, oh, they're going to make the playoffs. They were on the up, and then they didn't make the playoffs, and then they got De'Aaron Fox, and it was like, oh, now they'll make the playoffs, and they're on the up, and then it's like, they still haven't made the playoffs yet. So now with the whole play-in, they have an even better chance to make it, but I'm not even sure if they'll make the play-in, because right now they're currently sitting at the 11th seed, which isn't a play-in spot, but they're one spot away from a play-in. But currently right now, between them, the San Antonio Spurs, Portland Trailblazers, the New Orleans Pelicans, they all have a really similar record, so it could really go like any way. So I'm not sure how that's going to turn out with the whole play-in playoff situation with them this year, but they have like Tyrese Halliburton, who I stated before, Davion Mitchell, De'Aaron Fox. They have a really good, young core. It's just they haven't put it together. And we've seen what teams with the athletic guard, like the Memphis Grizzlies, can do, where Ja Morant is, a better version of De'Aaron Fox. I feel like Ja Morant is what we believed when De'Aaron Fox was drafted. That's what he would become. And we were like, oh, De'Aaron Fox will be that athletic guard who's quick and he'll lead the Sacramento Kings to a playoff spot. But when Ja Morant, he was going to be really good, and now he's done what people thought De'Aaron Fox could do, plus more. Because right now the Memphis Grizzlies are the 3 seed, and the Sacramento Kings are the 11 seed. So I think that Ja Morant is what could have been with De'Aaron Fox, but I'm not sure what's going on with that situation. And I also wanted to discuss the trade rumors. Some people were saying that they should trade Tyrese Halliburton, which I do not think they should do. It's they had Davion Mitchell in this draft, and then the last draft they got Tyrese Halliburton. So I don't think that they should trade their new draft pick. But I've seen Harrison Barnes, which I do think they should trade, because they're in a situation where they have some veterans, but then also some young players. But they're also in that situation that you don't like to see teams in, where they're not good, but they're not really bad. So they're not going to get a really high draft pick, but they're also not going to be in the playoffs, competing for anything. So that situation sucks to be in. So I could see them trading someone like Harrison Barnes to a championship team to try to get a young guy. And then I also saw that trades for De'Aaron Fox, that they could possibly trade him. And I do see where they could do that. Kind of like in a DeMarcus Cousins situation, where it's we've already spent enough time with you and you haven't led us to the next level, so we'll trade you for a young guy, who was Buddy Hield in that case. And I could see them trading De'Aaron Fox, but it just sucks because all the potential that you saw in him, when he first got in the NBA, and then now it's hasn't translated anything team-wise, because De'Aaron Fox has been a really good player, but his team just hasn't been any good, which sucks for the Kings because it feels like the same situation with DeMarcus Cousins all over again. But I also saw Buddy Hield trade rumors, which I do think is going to happen. Hopefully at this trade deadline, he gets traded, because there was reports that last season that it was almost a done deal between them and the Lakers to trade Buddy Hield for Kyle Kuzma, and that really sucks now because Kyle Kuzma's been really good. So the fact that they weren't able to get him kind of sucks. So that would have been nice for the Kings to get a young guy in Kyle Kuzma, and seeing what he's been doing on the Wizards would have been nice to have on their team. But yeah, I think that'll wrap it up. In conclusion, the Sacramento Kings are not a very good team, and their franchise as a whole has not been good over their 100-year span. 1 championship, so that's not really good. 100 years, 1 championship, but at least they have a championship. Some franchises don't, but seeing on how long they've been around, only 1 championship kind of sucks. But yeah, it's been Little Timmy from the Easy Buckets podcast group, and I will see you on Friday. Peace out.